Hello, welcome to Matters of Decorum. I'm Scott Corum, and this is what matters to me. The technical issues continue to be played with a little bit, and we'll see how this goes, and refining techniques. It's a work in progress. I have a smaller drink today, but it is much more alcoholic, so that works out. As I record this, it is Monday, October 30th, 2023. Tomorrow is Halloween. And Halloween is, I'm one of those people. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. Not that it's technically a holiday, but favorite observances. Always has been. Love the costumes, love the candy, love the spooks, love the haunted houses. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't do a little something special for Halloween. I haven't talked just about flat out running a game or riffing on a random game idea for a while. So, let's do that today. Thought exercise. I have been informed I am running a game for Halloween. Shit, I am running a game for Halloween. Well, it's going to be fascinating. I know nothing about the group. I know nothing about the characters. I know nothing about the what they want to do. I've got no idea in my head. Where do I go from here? Well, because I don't have a solid grasp on the group dynamic, I don't know what level the characters are or what they've got up their sleeves. I need to do something fairly general. I need to come up with a scenario that can be readily shifted on the fly to accommodate the capabilities of the characters and the dynamics of the players. Let's do something appropriately spooky. Fortunately, D&D has plenty of spooky stuff in it. Or unfortunately, depending on your point of view. D&D has ghosts, specters, skeletons, zombies, all of which in a horror movie or in a scary story are absolutely horrifying. Those can be used to tremendous effect. In a D&D game, they're experience. There are things the player characters need to beat up and take down so that they can get more experience points and maybe some loot so they can level up. That's the problem with doing spooky stuff in Dungeons and Dragons, is that the whole genre is you find monsters and you beat them up. The whole horror thing is you find monsters and they scare you. They don't meet in the middle here. So let's do something different. Ghosts and skeletons and zombies are all well and good. It's me. Let's engage in some Lovecraftian horror. There are plenty of Lovecraftian horrors already there in D&D. You've got plenty of aberrations and things from outside the universe. You've got your mind flayers and your aboleths, things which are, again, their opposition. They're things people tend to beat up more often than they're frightened of them. But let's play. What do you frighten people with in games? You frighten them with high-level monsters. Monsters that are beyond their pay scale at the moment. Things you're going to have to level up for to come back and beat up. Things that have a genuine risk of killing any member of the party or the entire party. If you see a total party kill walking towards you, that can be a little frightening. Start with a mind flayer. I love me some mind flayers. But let's lich it up a little bit. Liches are popular D&D villains, and they are the undead spellcasters who have sustained themselves past their death through a force of will and dark rituals. So they're all skeletal and gaunt most often. or just falling apart, but they seethe with power, the raw magical energies that they have mastered in their life and further in their death. Crackle at their fingertips. Mind flayers also have these kinds of rituals, and there are mind flayers who go in for that sort of thing. It's not called a lich when a mind flayer does it. A human or demi-human who goes through the path to extend their life past the end of their life with dark rituals and the force of their will. That's a lich. When a mind flayer does it, that's called an alhoon. And they are terrifying in their own right. Mind flayers, kind of scary. Liches, kind of scary. Mind flayer lich, an alhoon. That has some possibilities. I'm sure there are stats for alhoons out there. I know it for a fact. Now we're making up one from scratch. Not exactly from scratch. We start with a mind flayer. We are starting with the mind flayer straight out of the monster manual. And we're giving him 10 levels of wizard. We're just going to give him 10 levels in the wizard class. And yeah, because you've gone through 10 levels of wizard, you're going to have a subclass at third, and let's give them necromancy. It's a natural fit. We build the story as we build the characters, so you've got this mind flayer in a well-to-do mind flayer community who wants a little bit more. There's an elder brain there governing everything, a whole bunch of ancient mind flayer brains preserved in brine, still working together past their deaths to ensure the colony works out well. It's a great colony. They've got access to a nice supply of slaves for labor and breeding, and our hero here, not leadership in this little community, certainly not. Just one mind flayer taking advantage of the decadence that a mind flayer community can indulge in when they have everything they need and everything is going well. I think I've got my angle. And this particular mind flayer studied arcane magics because he wanted to. He thought it was a hoot. Decided to build up his not inconsiderable mental power by developing the skills and knowledge necessary to become a wizard. I stumbled across some dark texts in his studies and saw the possibility of never ending his studies, of becoming an alhoon. Probably evil mind flayer, so that's almost a given, but sure, let's make this mind flayer exceptionally evil. Lawful evil. Technically the worst kind of evil, at least in my opinion. Chaotic evil is just madness rampant for destruction's sake. Lawful evil has a purpose. Maybe he doesn't like the decadence of the community. Maybe he wants more of the decadence of the community. Maybe he doesn't want to share the resources that this community has in so much abundance. Greedy, evil. And so he pursues the rituals and all of the quests necessary to extend his existence past his death. Part of this means dying, but you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. This isn't a horror story for the player characters. At the moment, this is a horror story for that well-to-do mind flayer community. And here's how this becomes a horror adventure. Player characters find themselves in possession of a portal. They find a portal. some back room of a dilapidated farm on the far side of whatever territory they're in. And there's no reason a portal should be there, but it's been beautifully maintained, well constructed. It's very, very old. And it even has the words of activation on the side. You can open this portal and go through. And where does it take them? Why, it takes them to this well-to-do Mind Flayer community 100 years later. And it's dead. There are zombies. They are Mind Flayer zombies. There are Mind Flayers who have been zombified, who have been slain and risen as mindless undead. And now you can start to let the player characters know there's a problem here. Mind Flayers would never let that happen to themselves, not if they had anything to say about it, because that mental acuity, that brain, that mind of the Mind Flayer, that's something they value very highly, and these Mind Flayers have been deprived of that. In fact, they might find some writings around in several languages of Mind Flayers who are in the process of losing their minds, talking about how horrible it is and asking someone to find them and kill them, because now they are something that they abhor completely. Do Mind Flayer zombies eat brains? Yes, Mind Flayer zombies eat brains. Every Mind Flayer eats brains. Mind Flayer zombies, that's all they really want to do. They have lost the Mind Blast. They've lost their psionics, but they've compensated for that by being just physically of undead resilience. They like twice as many hit points as your average Mind Flayer, and yeah, if damage takes them down to 0, they get a con save. If they pass the con save, they're still active. They get 1 hit point back, and they're still there for a turn. With one Mind Flayer zombie, that's an inconvenience. With a community of them, that's a nightmare. Did I mention the portal closed behind them? It was a trap. It was a trap set for whoever was going to come across it. It wasn't placed there by someone. The Alhoon has just thrown these portals out there randomly into the universe because he's hungry. He still needs to eat brains. Maybe not as many, but he's eaten this community of Mind Flayers. What is sustaining them now is the curse of being consumed by the Alhoon. Ate their brains and left them with an undead countenance, a semblance of their former intellect just soaked into their undead bodies. And there's only one way to free any of these spirits, that is to find and destroy the Alhoon. It's a haunted house the size of a Mind Flayer colony. Make it as big as you need to. And yeah, the slaves, they're zombies. There's plenty of zombies of every species out there, humans and dwarves and elves and whatnot, that have been, some Gith, that have been victimized by the Alhoon, have had their brains extracted and their intellect replaced with the curse of undeath that suffuses their tissues. And they also want to eat brains, but they can't. The Mind Flayers have the equipment for eating brains. The rest of them really don't. They're just trying to get into the skulls of whoever comes across. Lots of bludgeoning damage and beating on people's heads until the brains come out. If they can make the brain comes out, that's kind of crack the nut and crack the shell, eat the nut inside, kind of thing. And the PCs are trapped there. The PCs are trapped. Maybe whoever left the portal has the means of activating it again. He does. That's the way out, but that's finding the Alhoon and killing the Alhoon. And now there's problems because most adventurers starting out in D&D, you get your burglar's pack or your explorer's pack or what have you. It's got some rations in it. You probably brought your pack with you coming through the portal, and now those are the rations that you have. That's it. There's no food here. There's no food. There's barely any water. The water that you can find is brackish and occasionally has brains in it. Old brains, ancient brains, briny brains. The elder brain of the colony might still be alive, or at least some of the brains in the elder brain might still be alive. That might be the only ally that the player characters can find, because the elder brain, it would probably enjoy dying at this point in time. It has perceived its entire colony be burned down to ruin, completely used up by the Alhoun, and unless the elder brain can start over again, maybe the player characters would make nice new mind flayers, but in order to get there, he's got to save the colony first. Can't do that with people with tadpoles in their heads. He's got to help the PCs kill the Alhoun. So the elder brain can contact them telepathically. There's a whisper in the distance. This voice that you can't quite nail down. It's trying to reach you. What do you do? Give me a wisdom save. What we have here is a very classic bad situation. PCs are trapped. On some chunk of rock in the astral plane. No food. No, I can't put in the astral plane, or not having food or water wouldn't be that much of an issue. Far side of the far stars, some chunk of rock under stars that they do not recognize. There is no sunlight. There's no sun that rises over this world. It's just what it is. It's always dark. There's no food. There might be some water if they can work out some way of purifying what's already there. They've got what they've got on them. No other assistance aside from an insane elder brain. And that is a mind flayer lich. That is an Alhoun that is going to realize very quickly one of his traps has worked and the dinner bell has rung. Not just for the Alhoun, but for all of the Alhoun servants. You need to power them with something. They're hungry. They need brains. Yeah. That is something that I would run for Halloween. That is something I might run on Halloween. What's the way out? Well, technically, survive the zombies, find the Alhoun before you run out of resources, take the Alhoun out, go through their stash, find the activation key for the portals, get out. Maybe kill the elder brain on the way out as a favor because it really wants to die. Is this something that every party is going to be able to accomplish? Nah, that's a bad scenario. But you can dial it. The number of zombies available to come and attack the party members is very variable. Have some of the zombies fallen fallow because they couldn't get the proper nutrients? Are they just estivating? Are they in a state of hibernation until they once again catch the scent of brains? So the size of the combats, that's variable. It's entirely up to the dungeon master at that point in time. Are the combats difficult? Yes, but they're not. It's not as hard to put down mind flayers when they don't have their psionics, but they're tougher than average, so it takes a little bit extra effort to put them down and keep them down. Not to mention all the other zombies. The Alhoun's a fight. The Alhoun is a fight. 10th level wizard on top of everything else. So there's that. You they keep their sonic abilities. So that's the mind blast. That's the mental stun that they can pull off, and that's that whole brain eating thing that Alhoons do just as well as any other mind flayer. All those other undead qualities, probably immune to, resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from a non-magical weapon. So if the player characters have got their hands on magical weapons, great, they've got a good chance. If they haven't, if they're fairly early on and do not have any +1s on hand, oh, yeah, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a problem. And you know what? It's not my job to be sure that the players have characters that'll actually make it through this thing. I might tailor the adventure moment by moment to see to it that they get the most of the possible story out of it. But are they making it out alive? Maybe. Maybe not. No guarantees, not in this crazy world. No risk, no reward after all. The Alhoun stash is going to be mighty. It's going to be everything that this colony had, and the wealth that allowed them to have this depraved and debauched lifestyle. So lots and lots of cold hard cash, maybe some magic items, maybe the magic weapons that had helped them kill the Alhoun. Great risk, and great reward. Great risk, and yeah, I'll let you know how they do. Well, thank you for all following me along on this particular ramble. I'm DeCorum. This is what has mattered to me. I will see you next time. The next matters of DeCorum. And now over to Uncle Drac for the outro. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy this video, give it a thumbs down. Feedback is feedback. If there's any other topics you would like to hear Scott talk about, questions you'd like him to answer, subjects you'd like him to cover, please leave a comment down below. He will love getting your comment, and you will love leaving him one. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, why not? This channel is awesome. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you do, you might also want to hit the little notification bell so you're alerted when these videos become available. If you would like to support this channel in a more substantial manner, we invite you to hit us up at the Patreon page, www.patreon.com/ScottCorum. And consider donating. Absolutely anything helps and allows us to create better content more often. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.